Again, stomp, clap, scream, it doesn't matter, but what I implore to you, make some noise!
What is going on? Does this work?
What up? I apologize for being late. My day job is I'm a attorney and political reporter, and the United States Democratic Convention is taking place on the other side of the convention, so I'm kind of going back and forth right now.
We don't have any other job.
How dare you? I have 5 million jobs.
Out of work actors.
So how's it going, folks? By the way, big round of applause for her.
Thanks for coming out.
Now I'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Catherine Bell.
Yeah, Labyorteaux, Labyorteaux, is how you say it.
Yeah, I'm Patrick Labyorteaux.
Then which one of us do you think is Patrick Labyorteaux? If there is a question, it's Labyorteaux. But it's no fun. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David James Elliott.
Patrick Labyorteaux.
Catherine Bell.
My name's Abdul, but don't worry about that. That's not important right now. Yeah. Thank you. This is a radio show. I appreciate it. By the way, just got up here about 10 minutes ago, too, so we're multitasking today. So, a little bit out of breath. So, JAG, I'll let you start.
He doesn't even know what the show is.
Actually,
That's the other thing, he didn't get the paperwork.
actually, because I'm an attorney and a military brat.
No
So,
way.
yeah.
That's not.
Judge Action General, by the way.
Okay, all right.
When the JAG officer showed up, somebody was usually going to jail.
You gotta ask questions. You just handed out to us, what we were gonna ramble on about nothing.
Well,
We all know that this man here fights and defends the laws of the sea. That's all they said at the beginning of the show, right? In the saga. Yeah, a Top Gun in the sky who now defends and fights for the laws of the sea.
The laws of the sea.
Not the land. Was I the land?
No, you were the land. You were the
Yeah.
Marine. Yeah, so you're fighting for the land. Well, let's interview you. What was your day like?
my day usually starts at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, ouch.
Sounds good.
I write a political weblog every day,
There you go.
and then I go cover state government and local government. And then I
Okay.
try to practice law and sue people.
What side are you on?
The winning side.
That's
Or better yet,
No,
or better yet,
politics here.
or better yet, I'm on the side that pays.
That side, yes.
So yeah, no, it's always good to be here, helping out our friends at Indiana Comic Con. So we'll go ahead and start with the ladies first. How'd you get involved with the JAG program?
Lots of auditions, 6 auditions and callbacks, and next thing you know, I was.
She started off as a dead body. That's how it happened. You were a dead body.
Right, Lieutenant
And you were
Diane
so
Schultz.
charismatic as a dead body.
That
That
body
Don
bag, I
says,
was-
bring that girl here, I'm gonna make her a star.
Make her a star. Yeah,
Do you have a legal background or just?
absolutely nothing. I didn't know the difference between the Marine Corps and the Navy at that time. I learned a lot, but I was just like, wow, I'm on this incredible show. We're on military bases, aircraft carriers, Camp Pendleton. I got to play a Marine. It was just pretty incredible.
And you, sir?
Well, I'm not gonna wait till you hear David's story, because my story is I get a call and they go, hey, we got this show for Don Belisario, which I was a big fan of Magnum PI, and I couldn't believe that I was gonna read for Don Belisario, because I was at this point where I could read for producers, and so it was for a guest part on the pilot, and I go in and I read, and they go, all right, thanks. And I get to the parking lot and I get a call from my agent to go, okay, you got the job, because it was just a guest star. It was like a few scenes where I showed you, or Harm, the boat, right? And that's about it. And so I get this show, and then we end up shooting the episodes. David and I, you hadn't been a part of the show yet. It was with Andrea Parker at the time. David and I are getting along really well, and Don, who's the writer, director, producer, Lord God Don, he sees us and goes, these guys are good. And so at the end of it, they said, hey, why don't you come and do the show? But I had gotten this other job, so I couldn't do the show that first year. But I had one audition. That's pretty much the same thing that you had, right, David?
Exactly, yeah. I got cast as a guest star in the pilot. No, I had, oh my God, man, it was so. I auditioned, and then 2 weeks later, I came back and auditioned again. And then 2 weeks later, they brought me back again. And then at the time, Howard Kazanjian, who was a big movie producer, I think he produced Raiders of the Lost Ark and
Revenge of the
big
Jedi,
budget.
like a big guy.
He was the co-executive producer. And I think on the third audition, Don, I did all the military stuff and I did the scenes, and then I guess it was some kind of a test, because he told this joke that was really funny and made Howard Kazanjian the butt of the joke. And he wanted to see how I would handle that, I assume, because I'm laughing now. I'm trying not to laugh because I know that Don's a big shot, but Howard's a big shot too. So I managed to get my way around that, and then I tested at Paramount, because it was a Paramount show, and then if you make it through that, you then test at the network, which was NBC at the time, and then I got the gig, and then I had to read with potential partners at NBC, right? And every time you went in, I kept thinking, well, they may just decide that, you know what, we were wrong about this guy, he sucks. Let's get a different guy, because that can, and it has happened and can happen, so it was like auditioning for months to get this part. It was just a pilot. It was a 2-hour pilot, which they, shortly stopped making in those days.
Yep.
Back in those days, you could have a 2-hour pilot.
Well, it was
because
also
like
the
a
most
backdoor
expensive
movie.
pilot ever made up to that
Yeah.
point, which was like, at the time, I think like $6 million.
Yes.
But now that's kind of like what, Nickelodeon
We
shows.
shot it in Corpus Christi.
Yep.
And Patrick and I hit it off almost immediately. I think we went running together a few times.
You went running, I went straggling after you. Trying to keep up.
Oh, good.
Right.
But we were running, and
I was
we
running.
had a technical advisor. It was a retired admiral who really didn't give a crap, because he was like, Don was like, you think it's okay if we do this? Sure, why not? Is this protocol? I don't know. He didn't care.
Well, and then Catherine, you were telling me that when you did your first episode, which I didn't know, what was the deal with the first episode?
Yeah, so I had never done a series, so when they cast me, CBS picked up the show. We were a mid-season replacement, which was like 13 episodes starting halfway through the season. And my contract said that they could fire me at the end of that first episode if they didn't like how it turned out. So that was no pressure. I'm coming in, you'd already been on for a year, and there's Don Belisario. Fortunately, I had been that other character in the end of season 1 when it was on NBC. So I kind of knew everybody, and I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna do my best. And thank God they didn't fire me at the end of that. And 9 years later, 230 something episodes.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
I was there.
I got a call when CBS picked it up. I had already been, because it got dropped by NBC, and I didn't, I saw no life for it, and I suddenly was like a hot ticket. I was getting these offers were coming in for other shows, and I was getting excited, and I get this call from Don. He's on the plane. Remember when they used to have phones on the plane? He was flying to New York to the upfronts in New York.
Yeah.
To sell the show, and he managed to sell it from the plane.
Right.
He's like, I've been looking for you everywhere. Right.
Well, that's what happened.
I've been calling. Where are you?
Sounds like Don.
I was in my car, Don.
Well, so there was an episode that ended up being called Skeleton Crew, and I think the 3rd season, where they took this episode that was the last episode of the NBC show, where what happened is your character Diane Shank gets killed, who is an ex-girlfriend of Harm.
Did you watch the show recently? How do you know? So,
I
clearly.
remember, like, the first season, like, perfectly. Everything after that, after I met my wife, I don't remember much of anything after.
Big
But,
blur.
so she's on the show, we do this episode, it's this big mystery, you're taken away, it's like, who, maybe Harm killed this person, and it's this big cliffhanger. But they never show, they never air it, right? But it was at this point that Don had called me. My other show that I was doing was canceled. And Don calls me and he goes, hey, want to be on a real show? Come in, be on JAG. And so I'm there the first day of shooting this episode, and he gathers everyone around to introduce me as the new cast member, and he's got me right there, and then David's right here, and he goes, all right, we've been canceled. I'm like, what? I thought I was being introduced, and he goes, no, we're canceled. And so he went off to New York to speak with ABC to put us on with football, right? They thought that'd be a good thing. And it was CBS that called and said, if you don't go to ABC and you come straight to CBS, then we'll pick up the show. And that's when you got your call.
Don made it a cliffhanger because he knew that we were sort of hanging on a cliff, and he said,
right,
I'm gonna make this episode a cliffhanger.
So how is this show different than other lawyer court shows?
Well, it's really good.
It had us in it, so it wasn't very good.
It's not Boston legal, but.
Yeah. We were ripped from the headlines. That was one of the things. And we were in the military at the time. I don't know of any other military law show prior to JAG.
No, and I think one of the things is that Don's a Marine, and a lot of the people that work on the show had connections, that we were telling the stories of the people in the service as opposed to judging them. We were telling their stories, and I think that any good storytelling, you're talking about the characters, and just because we were, in the military, those are the stories that we were telling. I mean, it's like Mac is an alcoholic, and Harm's lost his father, and Bud's got, an abusive father. It's like all these different character traits were all about the characters, and so when you had that thing of the week, like the case of the week, it was always about the emotional aspect of it, wrapped up.
Right,
in
people's
this
stories
really
framed in action.
Yep.
Initially, the first season was not like that. The first season was more like a 70s episodic where the guest star was the star.
It's like it was like
we were
magic.
just there, walking around telling his story. But also, originally, when we started, a script would be like 65, 67 pages, which was pretty standard to be able to tell a decent story by the end. I think scripts were like 42 pages, right? Very difficult to tell a story in that short period of time, to care enough about it. So one of the things with episodic television, if you had 67 pages, you could develop an interest in a guest star, get to know him, start to pull for him, but around 42 pages, very difficult. So the show sort of shifted and changed, made it better, I think.
Yeah.
Did you folks ever have anybody call I was in court, and that's not what happens?
Everybody can, pick a bone. We did our best to be as accurate as we could be.
Whoa, hold on. Are you saying that lawyers don't jump into F-15s and strafe Sarajevo?
Martial arts and
Not
beat up
in
the bad
Indianapolis,
guys.
So weird.
Honestly,
We had some
on that
creative
few-
license, but it was
there was within that creative license, we were there to entertain first.
Yeah.
But we were as authentic as we could be. And I met some lawyers who, oddly, had been pilots, Top Gun pilots. That sort of linear thinking lent itself well to that transition, because you can only fly those jets for so long.
Right.
Right? You didn't want a longer career.
Well, and if also you suffered from night blindness.
Yes, I did.
I
Misdiagnosed.
remember I just heard that. They only did that voiceover intro for a little while, right?
It was just
Right.
the first,
Yeah.
the second
I
season.
just watched
Saga
all those
Cell.
episodes, yeah.
It's so funny, Tina, my wife, she's a producer, and she was there when they recorded the Saga Cell. If you're familiar with it, it's the famous Don LaFontaine, the guy who says, "In a world." And he did the Saga Cell, and you book out time to fix it and make it sure that it's perfect, and Don wants it just so, and they had an hour of, studio time, and it's Paramount, and Don LaFontaine comes in, reads it once, and walks out. And like, there you go. And it's like, and that's it, so that's the only take they did.
No, the reason why I ask is because a lot of times, whether it's shows like JAG or other type of legal programs, people think hey, this case will take all an hour to get wrapped up. No, this stuff actually takes a lot longer in real life, a lot longer. And it's not Perry Mason where somebody comes at the last minute I confessed the murder. No, that's not how real life works.
Right.
But that's just
No,
me.
obviously, we were gonna tell the real story, we'd be 10 years of one case, yeah.
And an appeal
Very
too.
interesting, yeah.
Right.
Any judges watch?
None that I know.
I don't know.
Judge?
Judges?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like all people of
the world watch JAG.
Let's take some of the questions.
Hey, Catherine, Patrick, and David.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
I know, Patrick, you have already touched on it, how David's character was a Top Gun. And I listened to the interview you did with David.
Uh-huh.
And I remember David saying that he had a pitch, a script that you forwarded, that it would be centered around Top Gun. I've been thinking about this in my mind. There's so many connections with the 40th anniversary of the original Top Gun just recently. When the second Top Gun came, the Pete character was a captain, as you were a captain when you were reprised in your NCIS LA role. With all of those connections, that's what's prompted this question. David, if you and Patrick or Catherine, if you have given a pitch, could you really briefly share about what your idea was about the continuation of your characters in a future project?
Well, I mean, I pitched an idea where Harm had gone and was an admiral, and he was now running the Top Gun school at Miramar, to Scott Gemmell, which was which is how the NCIS LA stories came together, because he liked it and he thought, you know what, this would be good, maybe we can use this as a sort of jumping board, springboard to take the story, which then he took and wrote and completely changed. He went, yeah, I like that idea. Let me write the script. Okay, now I'm the head of I'm in the Pacific commanding a battleship. I don't know, but that's how that all came about. So that was an idea that I had that I thought.
Do you have a pitch for a reunion?
I think Harm and Max should be married and have babies somewhere.
On a farm.
I always thought it would be fun.
Patrick's our yard guy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm cleaning the yard. I always thought it'd be fun to have, like, we love John Jackson, but John left the show, and so I figured what would be fun is if, like, if Chegwin disappears or is disappered, and we're all gathered again to, like, try to find him, and he temporarily takes the JAG role, right? And then I've got 1,000 kids that are probably lawyers at this point. So we bring in some of them for like the young kids. They have to bring in the Marines, and we try to solve something for Chegwin. And then we're kind of just stuck there for another 10 years solving crime.
Do it. You guys will watch, right?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there. So my name is Laura, and my question is, what do you think your character's social media would look like?
Mine would probably look like mine does. One post a year.
I think Mac would not have social media.
That makes sense.
Right.
And Bud would probably it would be pictures of Harriet and whatever kids. Dogs. Yeah. Dogs, exactly.
So it would be totally toxic like social media is these days?
No, Bud's not toxic, and neither were Mac and Harm, and so I think you're right. She's just private.
Yeah.
Although I gotta say, I always laugh because it's like, in TV, you gotta have the two stars have chemistry, right? But the minute you get them together, then it's like, now what do we do? So they kept them apart, but they had to give her a boyfriend every now and again, who would invariably die. You were like,
The Black Widow.
right?
Maybe Mac killed them all. Psychopath.
Right?
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Caitlin. My question is, did you guys keep anything from the set, or did you keep any wardrobe or anything?
I wish I had kept more. I always people ask me that. I kept one uniform.
Right.
I kept one uniform.
I
That was it.
think I have 2 uniforms, a hat, some of the belt to go to the belt buckle, I got some rings. I don't know where they are. They're in a box somewhere.
Statutes of limitations allows me to tell you. I have not dress whites, but like regular whites. I have that, although
I got the dress whites.
can't fit them. Can't fit in them. But I have, when we had the courtroom, I have the JAG medallion from the judge's desk. That's where that went. Absolutely stole it last day. I number
Tearing it
of
off.
people saw me take it, and they're like, well, Patrick, where are you going with that? And I go, the art department asked me to bring it to them.
Do you remember that right after the show ended, it was in the Daily News, whatever that Valley newspaper is, that the old fuselage that we had, the F-14, they tried to sell, I guess they tried to sell it, or Don was selling it off. It was in storage at Van Nuys Airport, and the Navy heard about it, and they sent someone down, and it turns out that the ejector seat still had the rocket in it. And they flipped out and seized it and took it away. I had sat on that thing, smoking cigars for years, sitting there in between shots, because you'd have to go up on this scaffold, you'd be up there for half a day, and I'm like, I'd have a cigar, I'd put it in the ashtray, put it down, would shoot something big, and I'm sitting on top of a powder keg.
Well, what's so funny is you shoot these episodes, and we have the famous JAG walk and talks where we're talking and walking, and we're giving all the cases. We go out onto these amazing locations, we do that, and then like 2 days a week, if it was an airplane show, David was stuck in a helmet and this tiny, he's too big to be a real pilot.
In a real fuselage.
In a real fuselage, and he's just sitting there up in the rafters.
Ow.
Yeah.
When we did the pilot, Terry O'Quinn and I were in it for 4 straight days, full 12-hour days. Maddening. Oh my God! I thought, God, if this thing gets picked up, I'm not gonna make it.
So I gotta ask, what kind of cigar did you have?
Yeah, here's a funny story. In the first season, because Don was a cigar smoker, and so was I, and he had the prop guy, he had a Cuban connection. So Don Wrigley talked to the prop guy, and he said, look, why don't you get cigars for David and I? Every week, a guy would come in with this giant duffel bag, and he'd zip it open on the prop truck, and we'd look around like it was a drug deal. He'd open up, and there were just, I don't know, maybe 30 boxes of the best Cuban cigars, and we'd get to each pick a box. So we were at 25 cigars a week, and then at the end of the season, apparently some accountant at Paramount went, what the heck is this? We're paying for contraband? Killed that, you know.
I remember we used to have, obviously there's rules, you can't smoke inside a stage, but Don figured, well, I'm gonna put a dressing room in the middle of the stage, and that's where David and Don smoked, because I'm in my dressing room, I can't, I'm not on the stage, I'm inside, and it was like something out of a stoner movie. The door would open up and billows of smoke would fly out as Don and David would walk out of their smoking chair.
He got, his ex-assistant tried to sue him for smoking cigars around it, yeah.
What, like secondhand smoke?
Yeah, for secondhand
way.
smoke, because he, you know, when he was
Oh,
writing,
a
he
cigar.
smoked,
Yeah.
I don't know, 20 cigars, you know. In
Well,
his
it's
office.
not like it's a secret, I mean, it's like you
Yeah, I don't
know
think
he's
the case,
smoking a
I
mile
don't think
away.
it went anywhere, but she
Yeah.
tried. God love her.
Yeah, there's kind of an obvious danger is not a danger.
Right, yeah, oh, is that it? Yeah, okay, well, you're the lawyer.
That's why you walk into my house and slip on the ice, you can't sue because the ice was there. That's why I tell you don't shovel your sidewalk, because if you shovel your sidewalk, it
Now you're liable,
Yeah.
okay.
Your free law lesson for today.
Remember that. Y'all who don't live in California.
Did we answer a question, or did we just ignore it and ramble?
No, you answered it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
My name is Ben Wheeler, and my question is, did the director, producer, Paramount ever say Tom Cruise is coming on set or set location to do like a...
He never said it to me. He said it to you?
No, I would be.
He just showed up, yeah. Suddenly Tom was there. No, he never came and said that, I wasn't aware.
I don't know,
No.
does Tom even know if JAG exists?
You know, I actually, I was at a Super Bowl party with him once at his house, and it was at the height of JAG, and the Super Bowl commercial was a JAG commercial that year. And he was like, "Hello, can see me!" And I'm like, "Oh my God, this is so surreal, wow." Okay.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi everyone, I'm Chris. I just love the episodes during the holidays, and one in particular, Christmas, where it really integrated a lot of things from pop culture and traditional stories. And if you have any memories of that particular episode,
Are you talking about the Bob Hope USO tour?
No,
That was-
All Ye Faithful,
Oh.
about, Clarence and the wings at the wall, Scrooge.
Oh, I remember that, yes. Remember shooting the wall, we built a fake wall. We went to the wall, but not for that episode, we went to the wall and Billy, it's something that you can't do now, because I couldn't get in. I was driving somehow, and I was in uniform, and Hugo and Billy Webb and me and one of the grips decided we were gonna, because you're not allowed to film at the wall. We thought, we'll go in commando and film harm at the wall. So I'm driving the car, right? I'm driving, and I went, oh crap, you can't get in there. So I drove in backwards out the exit in front of the Lincoln Monument, right? And I jumped out, and they're getting out of the car, and this couple of security guys came running over. You can't do that, what the? And they went, oh, hey, it's you. Don't worry about it, you go ahead. And we went down and filmed at the wall. Yeah. You can't do that anymore. I don't think you get away with that now. Different world now.
I just remember from that episode, I don't, here's the weird thing, actors will tell you, I don't know the episodes so much, I just know the experience of doing them. And so what was great about that episode is around Christmas time, because you put some episodes in the hopper, but then you kind of are immediately behind. So it was very close to Christmas.
Yeah.
And so at the time, before there was internet, that's how old we are, we had all these catalogs in the courtroom, and we would just go and look at catalogs and shop for Christmas and do all that stuff. And in one of those episodes, I was dressed as an elf, and Harriet was dressed as an elf. And during our lunch, one of these years, they had a cast and crew, where the cast and crew families would come, and there'd be like a Christmas lunch for all the people at JAG, right? Don came as the Grinch. No, but I got to dress up as Santa for all the kids, for like the crew,
yes,
including my son, who is like just a year old. And so his first Santa was me, which I was just like so excited to be.
And he didn't know,
No.
was just like,
I
what?
still think Santa's real. He's 25.
Don came as the Grinch.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi, my name is John. First of all, thank you all for coming to Indianapolis for Comic-Con.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
In your series, you did a lot of scenes inside aircraft carriers, submarines. How real was that? Was that a set, or were you actually on an aircraft carrier in a sub?
Most of the time it was fake. We had all that on our sound stages. So we were just filmed these huge,
really
we had a big ship interior where it was like you go down a hallway and another corridor and into a room and upstairs, and it was pretty incredible. And then once in a while we would go out to one of the bases and film, which was really cool.
But we went out on the Stennis for 3 days.
So you were actually on.
Yeah, we went out. We walked on.
Yeah.
And then it went out and it was cruising around, not far from shore.
Yeah.
I guess they were doing exercises, and then we flew off on the cod to come home. So-
But David and I were roommates. We shared a room. They put us in officers' country, which was like a huge deal for like, oh my God, you guys had a great room. And it was the smallest little room, it had bunk beds, and like.
There was a third, Grey Nose came in.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, he was the third guy.
There was 3 of us, and they were launching Super Hornets on the deck, and I'd never heard anything so loud.
I
Pretty much didn't
I was
sleep all
taking
night. That you were just,
whatever, Xanax or something, and I had earplugs in, and you still couldn't go to sleep.
Your whole room
The
shook.
whole
It was
room
intense.
shook, because the catapult was right above our.
It was, I don't know how they do it,
Oh
but
my
here's
God.
like a little trivia. So like if you watch NCIS, and if ever they're on a ship in the Navy and NCIS, it's literally the ship that they
Footage
built
from
for us.
So
Yeah,
it's
they
just
just
right,
right,
yeah, they just moved it over,
It's the
yeah.
exact same, same boat.
It looked, those sets were fantastic.
They were incredible.
I mean, the art department went to a carrier and they took 1,000 pictures, and then they built this set. They would loan them to films. And when we shot on, in a submarine, we got the set from Clear and Present Danger for our submarine, so we got to reuse that. Having Paramount was, be the producer was really valuable. We also used, in the early days, and a lot of stuff, that footage from Top Gun that we used forever, recut, but we used stuff from, you know, all kinds of Paramount Pictures, we would cut.
Do you know
into our
why
show.
they stopped doing that?
Yeah, the directors were flipping out.
Well, they were flipping out, but also there was an episode where you were in, or Harm was in, I should say, like South America, and there was a drug deal that went down, and Harm has to do this crazy maneuver, and they had taken what they call it stock footage, but they had taken stock footage from Clear and Present Danger. Right, and in the stock footage, which should be like, no one can be recognized, there's Harrison Ford driving a Suburban instead of Harm, and they got a call from Harrison Ford's people, and so they stopped using those type of clips anymore.
Right. Look at that.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
So, which was each of your favorite episode to film and be in?
Which was what?
Favorite episode of film. I guess what's your favorite child?
I think for me, it was probably 2% Solution. That was like intense and dramatic. I was talking to
Tell me all about it, I don't know.
Well, Mac was, you know, traumatized by having killed a man, the stalker episode.
Oh, right.
I think, is that what it was? I forget all of these episodes too. But then they sent me to a shrink and I was resentful about that, but then all of my issues with not being able to have a child and abuse and alcoholism and all, it was intense. And there was a lot of history with us, and like, I think why I was so resistant to being with you. I wanted to have a child and I couldn't. Does any, you guys remember this episode?
Yeah.
Am I getting some of it right? I have no recall of it at all. No.
This is Catherine.
Yeah. Really? Hi, I'm Catherine.
Mine was, I think, the first episode I directed, which had that party at Bud's house.
Right.
Remember that was just fun. I don't know. You know, all the episodes, there's so many, they run together. There were, you know, 10 years is a long time, and there were some amazing, fun times and some really difficult times, and it's hard to pick one whole episode out, but so for me, the experience of directing everybody and some fun moments in that were, you know, for me, were my favorite. What about you? Was it the episode I directed you in?
Well, that's not only my favorite episode of JAG, it's the most favorite time I've ever had on set, and the best director I've ever worked with. My second favorite, I guess, would probably be, look, you know, there's so many great reasons to have a favorite, right? I love the first episode that we all did together because it was the beginning of something. Obviously, David and I did the pilot, but when Catherine joined, it was like, oh, it definitely worked, and you could see it working. And when that happens, that's really exciting. Of course, when they blew up my leg, it's like, that episode was like, when they blow the leg off, it's not a real episode, it's a regular episode and then the very last shot. So like that kind of story arc of Bud having to like deal with it was like a gift for an actor. And they did a great job with all the different lines that they did and how you guys were having to deal with it.
What about the episode you wrote?
JAG TV? Yeah. No, well, I did. I wrote a TV show. Sorry. I like that episode. Although, as every writer will say, it's not the episode I turned in. They gave me way too many notes.
Yeah, right.
But also early on, when I found out how to work with David on a comedic level, was really exciting because it's like I really liked the character interaction that Harm and Bud would have, and then how I found out how to have an interaction with Mac. And then once that was kind of key, then you could plug it into different episodes. So there you go. There's my 5
long,
favorite episodes.
rambling
Right,
answer to
but
your
remember,
very
it's
simple
David's
question.
episode.
Yes, let's get back to that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, I can speak loud.
Good.
Before I introduce myself, I would like to ask each one of you, I'm sorry, I lost 10 pounds running Gene Simmons and Ann Margaret for the photo op, so I wanted to be here to present Mrs. Bell an award and nomination. But before I ask and introduce myself, can I please ask, did you guys train with military, like boot camp before the show or during the show?
We had a 22-year veteran, retired Master Sergeant from the Marine Corps, was our technical advisor every day on set. And Don Belisario was a Marine.
Was he the
former
one that
Marine.
was a technical advisor for Private Ryan?
No, his name was Matt Siglock.
Okay, okay. There was
Yeah.
there was a Marine Corps.
We felt like we were in the Marine Corps. I mean, and that was pretty much our training. Yeah. Except for five double dog.
Right.
Every day. I mean, we were the most squared away Navy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Navy is actually a little squishier than we were. We had our pockets.
That's what I represented.
Yeah, you have to sew your pockets up, don't put those dick skinners in your.
So they weren't like Officer and a Gentleman where they put Luke, or Mr. Gossett Jr.
Yeah.
As a gunny for Richard
No,
Greer.
we were all Marines on that set, pretty much.
Hoorah.
Yeah, hoorah.
Thank you for one being here and for producing an outstanding show. I'm on a mission since 2017. My name is Gunnery Sergeant Luis Nino. I ran Grissom Reserve Unit from 2001 to 2005. I was the PTST as Peacetime Wartime Support Team member. So my job was to run the reserve unit when the unit got activated after 9/11. Unfortunately, the worst job I had was a CACO, Casualty Call Office. So my job was to help go pick up the bodies at the airport here in Indianapolis. And unfortunately, there was a young Marine, Lance Corporal Matthew Smith, who had just joined the unit the day I gave them the orders under President Bush to be activated for the attack of 9/11. And I'm just here to remind everyone, there was over 300 people that jumped out of those buildings. And we said as a nation, never forget. And look where we're at now with the, not to be political, but look how the politicians have us hating who you love, who you listen to, how you speak, what skin color. That's not the America that I served. And I'm on a mission. I rewrote the flag code and all of our fallen. So I went from 2001 to 2010, where I couldn't go anymore to the funerals. But I showed up in my dress blues, and I made sure I usually was the last person there to tell the Gold Star families my condolences and to thank them for their fallen military member. But I helped bury the first 5 Marines. So not only did I help notify families, I stood there at TAPS, saluted, and was the one that presented the flag to the Gold Star family. That's the greatest honor, the hardest duty ever. So what I'm trying to do is, my father died at work. The last shirt he wore says Pure American. He was 73 years old. And the importance of that, Dad never called himself an American. He was born in Texas, as I was, served 2 years in the Marine Corps. My older brother was in the Marines. So I would always tell my dad, Dad, you're the reason the Marine Corps came up with the rank PFC, because you have a proud private first class. I'm gonna cuss for just a minute. I said, no, Dad, PFC means poor fucking Chicano. So I know on his last day on earth, he put that shirt on and it said, Pure America, live free. So I put it in a frame to show the President, Congress, and Senate what sacrifice looks like. I asked my dad, why don't you retire, Dad? You're 73 years old. He said, I love working and messing with the company because I'm a union man. When they get messed with my people and fire them, I bring them back. And he said, I worked 2 years from 64 to 66 out in Bunker Hill, Indiana, picking tomatoes so you can have a better chance at the American dream than me and your mother had. So like I said, 2 of his sons went on to be Marines, and my youngest brother who didn't join, his oldest son's on active duty right now. So my mission is to bring the flag, and there's so many flag violations that you see on TV that you don't realize. Like when the flag flies vertical, the blue goes to the left. That's why they call it Stars and Stripes. Many times on Hollywood movies or advertisements, you see it on the right. Or you'll see the president talking, there's 10 flags. That's a flag code violation. Even as simple things like when the football game, when they have the American flag up, that's a flag code violation. The flag's never supposed to be flown vertical with the ground. So what I'm trying to do is to honor not only my father, but honor the fallen and the Gold Star families who paid the ultimate sacrifice for this country. So I've got some business cards here, but I'm doing something special for people that have done something to impact Marines, like the members of KISS. But Mrs. Bell portrayed a Marine. So I'd like to read you what I'm going to present to you and ask you please just to stand, please, ma'am. So what I have is I have a plaque, American flag with a Fuco globe and anchor, and I'm gonna present this to you. On this day, June 6, 2026, I, Gunnery Sergeant Nino Luis Javier, United States Marine Corps, hereby nominate JAG actress Catherine Bell for her portrayal of Marine Corps officer Major, then Lieutenant Colonel Mackenzie Sarah Mack, as a candidate for the title of Honorary Marine, for her contributions to inspire young women not only to join the Marine Corps, but to serve in other military branches as well, by being a positive role model to showcase her strength through the character she portrayed on TV. Thank you, ma'am, for your long-standing support for our troop, Semper Fidelis, which means always faithful, and God bless. And I named the flag code Pablo Nino's Patriotic Passion Act 2026. So I'd like to present that to you, ma'am.
I can't think of a better way to end the panel, ladies and gentlemen. Great round of applause. Big round of applause on the show. Thank you. That's it.
All right, let's make some noise. Come on, everybody.
I think it was Jaggle Bells with me and Elliott.
Jaggle Bells, I was thinking too.